You're both working on this project, Ocean's Curse. It's an independent project. You've worked together on independent projects before. Johan, you're the director, sort of primary writer, I believe. You're also acting in it. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and then Sarah, you're acting in it, you're producing it, and you're also doing some polishing on the scripts as well.
Yep.
So
that's right.
I'll get to the fun stuff of collaborating and how that works shortly. But before we get on to how Ocean's Curse came about, I believe that the two of you worked together first on the previous project, one that Gary mentioned, which was called Forbidden Ground, if I remember rightly, or Battleground. I think it's also, films often get retitled in different territories and all that. I know how that all works.
Yeah.
Owen, do you want to talk us? Was this your first feature film?
No, I actually made another film several years before that one called The Perfect Life, and Forbidden Ground was the next level up. We'd learned a few tricks and learned what not to do on that first film, and everything that we had sort of garnered, put together, came into Forbidden Ground, and I was pretty upset that the Americans relabeled it Battleground, but hey.
Yes, he was.
But Sarah and I have been friends for many years before Forbidden Ground. We worked on other films that weren't so good, where we joined forces, realized that we'd make a good team.
Right.
Yeah, and then we teamed up to destroy my dad's farm.
Yeah.
I'm going to come on to how you destroyed your dad's farm. And by the way, if either of you have got pictures of stuff being constructed or anything on your devices, you can share them with me here and I can put them up so our viewers can see. But it's always handy to have a dad who's got a farm who doesn't mind it being destroyed for warfare purposes.
Well, he didn't mind at the beginning. I think he minded at the end.
I don't think he realized how much destruction there would be.
Yes.
Like we used like 300 kilos of actual real explosives to create No Man's Land. Because then I also ran an armory, film armory with the weapons and pyrotechnics business as well. So I guess that's kind of what we tend to do. We make films that utilize the resources that we have. And at that time, I had like over 400 weapons and whatnot. So that's why we went into a war film.
I call that sort of allocation of available assets that don't cost you money, basically. So shortened to available assets, or double A's.
Absolutely.
And I know lots of people that have written films around available assets, and that's, if you can come up with a workable story, that's never a bad shout. So am I right in thinking
you've got to be scrappy?
There's no CGI in this shot. This is all real people, and is that correct, or have you doubled up a bit here? Have you?
There's no CGI as in digital characters. They're all real actors, but they are composited shots. So, like for instance, that shot you're looking at there, we filmed that in stages. So we had the group of actors in the foreground, and then we had a green screen, and then we did the next row of actors, and then we composited and rotoscoped it all together to create the illusion that there's hundreds of soldiers there. But really, I think we only had like about 10 or 20.
I think at the biggest shot, we had about 30, and in the biggest shots. But yeah.
But we used a lot of real explosions in the scenes. There's some great images and stills of actual explosions with the cameraman and everyone in there. So a lot of real practical effects, gunfire, but it's augmented with not CG, but compositing and other elements. So, we'd go in and record other explosions that maybe were too big or too dangerous to put next to people, and we'd composite those into the backgrounds of the shot as well. So there's a lot of CG. Actually, I built my company, because now I run a visual effects and post-production company, which is why we can do the Ocean's Curse. And we learned a lot of lessons, but we built that that company on the back of Forbidden Ground. So we put it together and built a team of effects artists to get Forbidden Ground made. And like that is now, we've taken those lessons, and now with also leaps in technology, we can do the Ocean's Curse.
But I mean, that said, it was a very physically grueling shoot. Like you were in. Luckily, I was back in England, but you were in the trench like overnight for
I was going
hours
to ask
freezing.
how many days filming was this? What was the shooting schedule like? Just talk us through it a little bit.
It was
grueling.
It was 14 days on the actual battlefields. So we did all the shots in like that were back at home in England and whatnot. We did those shots separately for another maybe week or so. And there were some miniature shoots, but the actual battlefield was 2 weeks. And literally I think I got like 1 or 2 hours sleep per night. I was the first one on set with my co-director, and then I was the last one to leave. So, we were packing the sheds, putting things away. And I remember after the shoot was finished, I actually had like a PTSD almost. I was in bed in the hotel room, and everyone had gone home, and I just jumped up out of bed in the middle of the night and go, "Why is it so quiet? Why aren't we shooting?" And I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, damn, I'm in the hotel room, and I literally thought I was still in like a bomb crater or a trench.
And I mean, like the actors you guys were in wetsuits, right? Because it was so cold and so muddy, and then the next day you have to put back on the muddy clothes because it's not like we couldn't wash them and clean them. Like you're in the trenches, like so those clothes didn't get washed for 2 weeks. They were disgusting, and every day they had to peel them back on and sit back in the mud. Like it was. That I was very impressed by the resilience of like the lead cast in the war itself. Like that was probably one of the most difficult shoots I've witnessed from the outside. I know I was tired, and I was just like running around the background giving you guys muffins.
And how long did it? How long did it take to construct the set on your dad's farm prior to filming of day one?
Well, I did a great job supervising them digging it. I just want to say that.
You did a lot of pointing and said, "Oh, over there, man," that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I tell you, Adrian and I were there for about 2 weeks to building the sets.
Yeah.
Because the trouble is there was a really high water table, so we dug out a series of trenches, and we came back the next day and they were completely flooded.
Well, that's just exactly like the real thing, which is good,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
It was
not so good
brilliant.
for construction, but it was really good for getting into character.
And then storms came in, and when we finally had a really nice dry or semi-dry trench system, storms came in and blew it all down. And then we had to go and rebuild it. It was hard. We did
stopping
a lot of
shots to chase cows out of the background. Remember that? The cows kept coming in the back of the shot.
I'm glad they were there because they were my tracking markers when we were adding the CG. There were no other tracking markers, so we had to use cows as our tracking markers for compositing.
Did you have a JCB? Did you have a JCB to dig the trenches? You weren't digging them by hand with spades.
We had a big backhoe that came in to dig the main trench system, but the set dressing and putting all the boards down and walls and extra that was all the
hand, all the sandbags, everything.
What did the budget end up being on this? Including post production.
Well, see, a lot of it was like in kind, working for free, so it's kind of hard to put a dollar figure on it. If you were to add it all up together and try to put a dollar figure on what we spent, probably about $1 million Australian dollars in total. But I remember our actual shooting budget to actually go and get it filmed was literally maybe
minuscule. Okay.
So
I mean,
tiny,
we had so much help with that one. Like my parents had a motel at that time and let everybody stay there. It was they were amazing. 'Cause we just really had to, like you said, like pull all the resources we possibly had to just get it to happen.
When you finished post-production on this, talk me through finishing the film and then getting it distributed by Lionsgate. How long was that process? What were the stepping stones? Was it relatively easy? Did it happen quickly? Just talk us through it.
It happened really, really fast. We had finished filming Christmas time, and we sort of had Christmas off and had a break. And in January, we cut together the trailer for it, which is pretty much the same trailer that you see online now. And our sales agent took it to the European film market in Berlin, which was in February. And we had sold most major territories there at that festival, the very first time. So then we had a whole bunch of pre-sale agreements, which I later got some more investors on board to sort of fund those pre-sale agreements, which allowed us then to go and do a proper sound mix and finalize all the rest of it. So we spent, the most expensive part of the film was the actual sound mix.
Yeah. I mean, I remember doing that on my second from last feature. And yeah, I mean, you go in a proper studio. That's a lot of time, and you got to get the proper guys that know what they're doing. And yeah, it adds up pretty quick. It's a big chunk of change, especially for a film with these kind of sound mixes and battle scenes and all of that sort of stuff. That's quite complex.
Yeah, but it makes a huge difference to elevating the quality of what you end up seeing. Like it's we had a great one.
Totally. I mean, totally right. Money well spent. Absolutely. You're
right. Can forgive stuff like that. The picture inconsistencies, but your ears do not forgive bad sound.
No, they don't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, I mean, Gary knows all about that. So
he was there on the ground as well.
Yes, I yelled for you.
Being a bit of a military history guy, was this? I haven't seen the film. I've only seen the trailer, so I've got a gist of the story. Is this based on a specific historical battle that took place during World War One, or is it just a non-specific time? And I mean, to what degree did you look at historical authenticity? I don't just mean the uniforms, but things like unit badges, that kind of stuff. Did you go that far, or did you not go that far?
We didn't really go far as individual unit badges, because it was a fictional story. It was obviously set World War One, loosely sort of based around the Somme.
So it's a fictional battalion in the movie, not a specific one from history or anything like that.
No, it's not. We didn't have the time or the money to be that detailed and specific about which unit and try to get the badges exactly right, because there's a lot of people who get offended if you get those wrong. So
that's why I asked the question. In some ways, you're safer kind of working in the fictional sort of realm.
Yeah, and we are very respectful of the history. It's like, what happened is horrendous. And, I think keeping it fictional in that way, we were better able to honor what, the history and the sacrifices and the experiences of the soldiers. So it didn't take people out of the story that we were telling.
Yeah, got you. Where and when did you...
Sorry. Even then, we still have people commenting, emailing us and saying, "Oh, there's a ribbon there. That ribbon didn't come out for 6 months after this period of the battle." And I'm like, "Well, how do you know what period of the battle this is in? Like, come on, give us a break." They like freeze frame and zoom right into this ribbon, the counting colors. Right. Like, oh, come on, please.
Maybe that was somebody. Kick that rubber. Where and when did you have your first big screening of this with I'm assuming you had some